Here's why you never get anything done. Your drive toward efficiency crushes your rate of progress. It's because you're greedy, but not in the way that you think. Let's start from the beginning. Think of the last time that you've been in the zone to tackle something that you've been procrastinating for weeks, and somehow you got into it. Time flew by, you made real progress. And sure, it could have been a deadline coming up. You didn't have a choice but to finally sit down and do the work. That may be a valid explanation until you reflect a little deeper, and you'll see that the reason you accomplish so much in these moments is because you're not thinking of all the other things on your plate. You can focus on one thing and get it done quickly, effectively. In other words, your mind is not being greedy by trying to hold on to multiple things at once. Your mind is not trying to be efficient. You're just doing the thing that you set out to do in the first place. One thing. Doing one thing seems easy. It certainly should be easier than doing 3 things, but somehow it's not. You need to give something up. In order to think about just one thing at a time, you need to give something up. You probably need to give a lot of things up. You might be familiar with the feeling of being paralyzed, unable to take action. You have time and good intention, but the time seems to pass before you have a chance to actually make any progress. So despite your seemingly infinite to-do list, you just seem to sit there. Feeling paralyzed is a common symptom of a mind that craves efficiency, of a mind that wants to get everything done all the time, of a mind that can't give things up, a mind that has no clear priority, a greedy mind, a mind pulled in so many directions that it can't seem to focus on anything. By breaking the fixation on efficiency and by learning how to give things up, we can train the mind to be less greedy. Prioritization can help. Let's look at this in reverse. The less we prioritize, the less our mind has to give things up. Since no one task takes precedent as a priority in this state of mind, we hold on to the fantasy of getting everything done. The reality of this situation is that without prioritization, without giving things up, our mind becomes scattered and we don't perform well. An obsession with efficiency is at odds with prioritization. It is at odds with single-mindedness. The trap that we fall into with efficiency fosters and reinforces the greedy mind. A greedy mind that can't give things up, a greedy mind that wants to hold on to the hope that it can get everything done all the time. And when you want to get everything done all the time, and when you can't give something up, you end up distracted. With distraction, our attention becomes scattered, and we don't perform well. To put it another way, the race to efficiency leads to overwhelm, which leads to a self-reinforcing cycle where our mind craves yet more efficiency in order to get out of the state of overwhelm, and so on. It's self-reinforcing. It's a negative feedback loop. What we really want is to be able to focus on one thing at a time and get it done. To focus is to prioritize. To prioritize is to let go. In order to let go, we need to get rid of the notion of maximizing efficiency. Letting go may feel counter to your goal of getting lots of things done, of being efficient in the first place, but the more attached your mind is to something, the less able your mind will be to relieve itself of that attachment when it needs to focus on something else. I want to draw a quick distinction between having a lack of focus as a result of being distractible and having a lack of focus as a result of a greedy mind, which is a symptom of this efficiency trap that we've been talking about. These two symptoms are often related and coexist. Let's consider being distractible as the situation where you think of something, you have an urge, and you give in to that urge while you're trying to work or get something done. Say, to jump into YouTube and engage with something that feels valuable from your feed. You give in to urges and go down rabbit holes unrelated to anything that you say that you want to get done. Let's call that being distractible. Although related, the greedy mind dilemma is more subtle. Our desire to be efficient, our desire to get lots of things done, hinders our ability to focus on any one thing that we need to get done. Our mind is scattered and spread thin, decreasing our rate of progress, decreasing our quality of work, the result of which leads to frustration, paralysis, increasing overwhelm, and increasing distractibility as we seek refuge from the feeling of frustration, overwhelm, and paralysis. In order to improve, we need to start with a few fundamentals. Number one, Reframe efficiency as letting go. Stop thinking of efficiency as getting lots of things done, and start thinking of efficiency in terms of letting go, in terms of making space for one thing at a time. Because splitting your attention is spreading you thin. It crushes your rate of progress. Number 2, have a system to offload future obligations. In its simplest form, this would be a to-do list. A more complex example, maybe structured project management software, Notion or Trello or whatever you're familiar with is probably the best thing to use. You need the system in place so that when you're setting out to do the thing, the one thing as per our model of efficiency that we've been talking about, you can actually focus on that thing without giving into productive temptation. You can rest assured that that other important thing is safely captured in your system for your later attention, and you can let it go. Also, make sure to remember that a priority can't come with an asterisk. Don't fool yourself into thinking that a priority has been set if you're going to allow it to be superseded by productive temptation. Number 3, train the mind to be less susceptible to distraction. Since the symptoms that we often feel when we are caught in the efficiency trap tend to lead to increased distractibility. Remember, these are feelings of overwhelm, frustration, and paralysis. The third tack of improvement here is to decrease your susceptibility to distraction in the first place. Training the mind to not give in to urges as they arise will leave your mind less likely to jump at the first shiny object in its sphere of awareness. This is a valuable skill at any time, but especially so when your mind is in a vulnerable and weakened state. For this, you can practice any number of mindfulness techniques. One that I find really powerful is sitting with the discomfort of your urges. The urge will fade over time, and as you get back to the thing that you set out to accomplish, that urge will eventually pass, and you'll forget that it ever wrestled for your attention in the first place. So each time that you sit with this discomfort through this process, you build your mind's muscle, strengthening it to resist distraction. The mind will try to be greedy, efficient. It will surface other things that you could be doing. These may be things that you say you want to get done. They may be next on your to-do list, productive things. These are the most dangerous because they aren't the one thing that you're intending to be doing in the moment. When we're better at handling our urges, as we strengthen that muscle, we will be better equipped to resist greedy cries for our attention toward other obligations. We will be able to let go of the need to be efficient. And in that process, we will get one thing done, and then we will get the next thing done, and then the next thing. So decide on what to do. You can even write it on a piece of paper and place it next to you as you work, as a reminder. Let go of the other 10 things you need to do. Know that they're well captured in your system, and just do the one thing. Do the one thing. This is to be your new meaning of efficiency. And when distractions surface, and they will, some will be productive distractions, temptations, symptoms of the greedy mind, and others will be less productive urges. Notice them. Don't pretend that they aren't there, but don't give in. Carry on until you get that one thing done. You've got this. I'm Oliver. This is a new channel. If you found this video insightful, please press that like button. I'm told it helps more people discover the video. Subscribe while you're at it, and I'll see you in the next one.